Yo, what is going on? Wednesday, hump day, October the 19th, 2022. Appreciate you all tuning in. Chris Phillips here, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. I see Travis Allen, John Edward, Justin Langford, Gad, M. Colts, Connor Chase, Todd Smith, C. Youngblood, which of course is Chase. Cody Gaskins, what's going on? Brendan, appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Also those in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. We're going to set the vibes right in here. In case y'all did not know. Oh, shit. I'm a big candle guy. Huge candle guy. Very big candle guy. Love a good candle. This candle especially, no free ads, but I don't even know who makes this. The Capricorn candle. The Capricorn candle, because yours truly is a Capricorn. Goat season. Shout out to all my goats out there. The practical goat is what it says on here. The practical goat. So that sounds about right. Anyways, appreciate you all tuning in. We're going to have my guy, Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus on here in just a couple of minutes. Of course, every Wednesday, that's how we start the show, and that's how we'll start it today. Guys, really quickly, before we really dive into everything, the Daily Crow brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use the promo code TSUS. You're going to receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. And guys, so many fans of the Spurs Up Show, the Daily Crow, everything in between have been making money and crushing the bookie with Prize Picks. You can bet all your prop plays from every college sport, NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, you name it. They got it, guys. Again, that is our friends over at Prize Picks. It's so simple. You just pick a couple players, you pick their totals, what have you, and you go from there. Again, that's Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use that promo code TSUS to receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Be sure to check them out and tell them that Chris from the Spurs Up Show sent you. Okay, let's go ahead and get the link over to our friend Anthony Trish, and we'll get rocking with him. Very excited to hear what he has to say ahead of this weekend's game against Texas A&M and just what he's seen from the Aggies to this point. Again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Of course, podcast dropped this morning, episode 716. Of course, Tuesday presser takeaways, best bet for South Carolina A&M, SEC gambling picks for a packed Week 8 slate. Also, I touched on R.J. Roderick, Corey Rucker, and his status. And then, of course, J.D. Pickell of On3 Sports joined me for a fantastic conversation, guys. Highly suggest you check that out. Had a great conversation with him. Had a great time talking ball. Really, really do highly suggest you check that out. Again, guys, as we wait for, let's see. Oh, Austin Moore, you were on the wrong day, TDC. 10:20s tomorrow, my guy. 10:20s tomorrow. Joseph says, can we please start spreading the word that we are doing a blackout this Saturday? Well, Joseph, I would spread the word if that were actually happening. We're not doing a blackout. A little birdie has told me what we're wearing, and we're not doing a blackout. I can assure you of that. Listen, if the school wants to do a blackout, if the school wants to promote one, so be it. I'm not going to go out and die on that ledge and promote that. I'm not doing it. Sorry, Joseph, I'm not doing it. So you want to use your platform, your voice to promote people to wear black, that's fine. I'm not doing it. Again, if the school doesn't want to do it, if the team doesn't want to do it, if Beamer doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to force it, my guy. I'm not going to force it. Anyways, Anthony Trish, Pro Football Focus, will join us here in the next couple of minutes. Appreciate you guys doing it. It's been a fantastic week, man. Week's been flying by, I feel like. But it's been a lot of fun. Guys, be sure to check out our merch, tsus.store. Check it out there. Also, we'll have the koozies, the towels on sale at the tailgate on Saturday. As always, guys, you know the drill. Come on out to Seawells. Spot 78, just to the left of that Seawells building. You'll see our TSUS and Big Cock Club flags flying high. In the meantime, hey, every single Wednesday, of course, we have him on. Very excited to get our good friend Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. Anthony, I'm digging the headgear, my guy. I'm digging the lid. What's going on? How are you?
I'm just trying to match your headgear because every single week it seems like you have like the best hat I've ever seen. So you're doing good work there from a branding perspective. A lot of great merch from what I see. But yeah, I got to rep the old faithful today.
Dude, I love it, man. I think I'm going to have to snag me a PFF hat. That's fire.
Oh yeah,
I do like that a lot.
we'll make it happen. We need to get our store up and moving. We've changed our logo a few times, but yeah, we'll make something happen.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do a little Beamer Ball for PFF swap. We got to get the good word of Beamer Ball out there to the Pro Football Focus boys. Anthony, again, I appreciate you taking the time, man. It's always a pleasure, obviously, to chat with you every single Wednesday. And man, I know South Carolina obviously didn't play this weekend, but what a weekend of college football it was, man. When you look across, it felt like I don't want to speak for all of them because I'm not going to say I sat there and watched the entire slate and all the top games, but it felt like this was a weekend that delivered. You know, you get some weekends where you have these highly anticipated matchups and they're either blowouts or they're boring or they just don't live up to the hype. Tennessee Bama alone, that made the weekend. Just talk about the weekend that was in college football, and obviously the game of the weekend was that game in Knoxville.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that a little bit of recency bias. Where you're like, that was the best weekend of football we've ever seen, and it definitely right now you have to say it's one of the best, definitely the best that we're going to see all year. Just again, Tennessee Bama alone, I think that game made it as great as what it was. But then you throw in Oklahoma State, TCU coming back for the victory, USC, Utah. I mean, just a lot of great games all throughout the slate, which was kind of hyped up as the biggest slate of the season. So it definitely lived up to the hype. And now we got a lot of interesting playoff talk that's going to be coming here in a few weeks with that Tennessee Bama result. We'll see if Tennessee can hang on with Georgia. I'm a little doubtful right now that they're going to be able to. I think it's a little bit worse of a matchup for them. But overall, you can't complain. This is why I love doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. How do you see what do you think the committee will have to do? Let's just play the hypothetical game and make you squirm a little bit. Georgia, Bama, Tennessee. Let's say Ole Miss. They all finished with one loss. How does that play out, man? Because you can't put them all in, I don't think, right? But, I mean, it's going to be hard if Tennessee's only loss, let's say, is a field goal loss to Georgia between the hedges and Bama ends up beating Georgia in the SEC title. Again, they all have one loss. How do you keep a Tennessee out with the best offense in college football?
That's a good question. That's definitely the scenario where the committee is like, I'm praying that does not happen because people from all over will be coming for them. I don't think that's going to happen, but hypothetically, if it did, I mean, that's definitely going to be the hardest decision that they ever have to make, and that's why they're going to be okay. Looking forward to this 12-team playoff that we're getting ready to go to here in a few years. I think in that scenario, gosh, I don't know. I don't know. You probably put all three in there because at that point, you look over in the Pac-12. I don't think we're going to see an undefeated champion. I know we still have UCLA in there, very good one-loss teams, but I think they're all going to kind of beat each other up. Big Ten, that's where it gets interesting. I think you look at, Ohio State, Michigan, you got to just kind of take the winner there. You can't take the loser anymore. And you go to the ACC, and if Clemson's still undefeated, that's when the problems really kind of come out. So that's definitely, I think, the toughest situation. And I don't know, maybe it's Georgia that gets left out of that picture. I don't know. I don't envy him for that decision, but that's what's going to make the rest of the season so great.
Yeah, as someone, I said this on social media yesterday, Anthony, but as someone who, my team's obviously out of it, has no impact. Well, it could have an impact, I guess, that Tennessee game late in the season, but it's not going to make the playoff. I'm just pulling for pure chaos. I personally just want to see chaos and see the committee squirm a little bit and have to rack their brain of who's in, who's out, whatever. Anthony, let's dive into the game this weekend, obviously, in Columbia. Both Texas A&M and South Carolina coming off bye weeks. Let's start with the Aggies. Offensively, it has been a rough go of things, dead last in the SEC in total offense, averaging just 21 points per game. Quarterback situation's been a nightmare. You lose Aniyah Smith on the outside, Devon Achane. He's kind of, it's funny, South Carolina and A&M, and you can correct me if you feel differently, but I feel like these two teams are almost kind of mirror images of each other in some ways. Both have offensively struggled. Both feel like they kind of lean on their defenses a little bit, and both need this game badly, call it for what it is. But on the Aggies side of things, we'll start with their offense. What do the numbers tell you, and what do you see from them? Obviously, Haynes King right now, I think, is going to be a game-time decision, it sounds like. If not, they're going to go with the 5-star Wegman kid. I don't really know how much of a difference that even makes because it's not like Haynes King has played great football. Just your overall thoughts on the Aggies on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, offensively, that was a big question with them heading into the season, and it was really just because of the quarterback position. And it's been worse than even it was imagined, right? I thought I was a little cautious to say Texas A&M is going to be a playoff team because of the quarterback position, and it's even worse than I thought it would be. If Haynes King plays, I mean, honestly, that's probably the best case scenario for South Carolina because while Connor Wegman, he's a 5-star, I get it. He's not going to perform like a 5-star right away, but we still don't really know what he could be out on the field. With Haynes King, I think we have a good idea of what he is at this point, and it's not very good. I mean, you look at what he's done against, FBS opponents. He's played 4 games this year, 1 against Sam Houston. You throw that one out, he's averaging 5 yards an attempt, completion percentage just above 50. No big time throws, 4 turnover-worthy plays. I mean, it has not been good. And like you said, you lose Nia Smith. That's damaging for this Texas A&M offense. Devon Chain, I think he's definitely one of the more boomer bust runners. He can either take it 80 yards or, he kind of gets stuffed there. That's just the way he kind of plays. The offensive line has been underwhelming. I thought they were going to be one of the best groups in the country. We really haven't seen them perform up to that level. So offensively, it's just been pretty bad all around. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, they were close with Bama. They almost beat them. I mean, again, I go back to Bama just didn't have Bryce Young, right? You don't have the best quarterback in college football. Jalen Milroe is definitely talented, but he's no Bryce Young. He had pretty significant issues throwing the ball in that game, and he was the reason why that game was as close as it was. It was nothing to do with Texas A&M offensively. Defensively, they have pieces to be excited about, but offensively, it's pretty bad. And, just overall, you probably have to say this game might be the most, I'd say the most impactful or most important game of the weekend in terms of non-ranked opponents, because you get Texas A&M, they lose. We're going to have some interesting Jimbo Fisher conversations sitting there at 3-4. South Carolina, they get to 5-2. They got 2 favorable opponents up next. They can kind of get on a run there. So I think it's a lot of intrigue with this matchup. But again, for Texas A&M offensively, I think South Carolina should probably be hoping they see Haynes King run out there just because, again, we know what kind of ceiling he has. Connor Wegman, he's not going to perform well right away, in my opinion. I mean, it's very hard for a 5-star to do that even. But again, we just don't really know what he can do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I talk key matchups, Anthony, for every single game, and I think it's a really fun matchup to see these 2 running backs go against each other. I heard a lot of chatter going in the Kentucky game how I think it was Marcus Lattimore that actually said it, the great South Carolina back, that as a running back, you go into games like this where maybe the other side's being talked about so much. Chris Rodriguez was getting all the hype and the praise going in that Kentucky game, and it gives a guy like Marshawn Lloyd a chip on his shoulder. But this features 2 of the best in the SEC, and A-Chain and Lloyd. I think that's going to be a really fun battle to watch. Just kind of the 2 teams I think probably will have to lean on their running games and are most successful when they're doing so. You look at A&M on the defensive side, giving up 18 points per game. What do you see from the Aggies there, Anthony? Obviously, again, you hope for South Carolina's sake that in that second half in Lexington you sort of found something. What are the challenges that Texas A&M presents on that side?
Yeah, I mean, you look at their secondary, and when healthy, that group could be one of the best in college football. They've had some injuries, and I think that's going to be something to monitor going into this game. Tyreek Chappell didn't play against Bama. Last year, he was one of the best true freshman corners. He's been playing great when he's on the field this year. Jalen Jones played against Bama, has been banged up, though, all throughout the season. And, of course, I think you have Antonio Johnson, who is still – it's like there was a lot of hype around him, and now we're starting to see that kind of simmer down a little bit. I still think he deserves a lot of hype. He's a slot corner last year. I thought he was quite easily the best slot corner in college football this year. More of a safety role. Numbers, he's less around the ball as much, so you don't hear his names called as much. But still, he's a dang good safety, and I wouldn't, overlook him at all going into this matchup to make a big play. Damani Richardson, of course. So there's a lot of great pieces in that Texas A&M secondary, and if it's fully healthy, it's going to be really, really hard to kind of throw the rock against him. So that's kind of something I'm looking at for them, is just, are they fully healthy? Do they have all their guys there? And do they look like they're healthy? And are they playing up to their form? And if so, it's going to make it even more interesting. So that's my biggest kind of takeaway from looking at this Texas A&M defense and watching them, and all the data supports it. I mean, some of their highest graded players are some of those defensive backs, just very good players kind of limiting their side of the field.
Now, I think it's interesting, Anthony, in this game, and again, we talk numbers with you and sort of, the Vegas side of things and the spreads and the totals, and it's interesting because I thought this game would probably open up as about a pick 'em. Both sides, South Carolina's won 3 in a row. A&M's sort of reeling, but we know they have talent. They play Bama close on the road. And I don't care what just happened in Knoxville. Bama's Bama. But A&M opens up as a 4-point favorite. I think the number sits at 3.5 now. Total sitting at 44.5 right now. So Vegas expecting a low-scoring game and expecting the Aggies to edge out South Carolina. And you look at the series history. South Carolina's never beaten A&M. 0-8 against the Aggies, an average margin of defeat of 19 points per game in those 8 games. And the last 3 matchups have been pure blowouts. Your thoughts on the spread and your overall vibe on this game, and how much do you think the series history goes into sort of the feeling, the national feeling, if you will, about this matchup?
I thought it would be a little bit more, it's a little bit larger, not significantly so. I didn't think it would cross that 7 mark. And in college football, you don't have those key numbers as much, but with a low scoring game like this, you kind of do. I thought it'd be around 6.5 or so. So I was a little surprised. I was kind of on the opposite end there. But then again, I'm not a betting expert, so that's just kind of my guess. But I think I look at that, and you're definitely going to see a low scoring game, in my opinion, unless we see some offensive tweaks from South Carolina. And that's the biggest thing in college football, because you typically see most of these offenses, if they're struggling a little bit, there's some disagreements, you're going to see some changes after that bye week. We see it all the time with a bevy of teams. And I think South Carolina is kind of one to monitor. I'm curious if they're going to kind of stick to their guns, or they're going to change some things up. Like we talked about Nazim, just let Seven play his game. I'm going to be curious to see if they're kind of doing that, or if it's still going to be pretty safe, conservative, quick scheme throws. Don't let the passing off with kind of losing the game type of thing. So if they're kind of stick with that, I could see it being low scoring. And so I kind of go back and just looking at the history. It's almost one of those games where you want to remember it, but just throw it out, because this is a completely different Texas A&M team. And again, it goes back to that quarterback position, because if you had to rank all the Power 5 quarterback situations, there's a reasonable argument to be made that, at least for this season, I know next year and the year after it'll change with Connor Wyman and his development, but right now it's one of the worst. And I don't think anybody can argue differently. And I think that's what kind of makes this a different matchup from what we've seen historically. So, again, 2 defenses that are playing sound. I look at South Carolina's defense too, which is interesting. We talked about how much they're just very aggressive. They're bringing heat, sending several guys in there, very blitz heavy. And they kind of took the wheels off a little bit, backed off a little bit against Kentucky, and it worked out for them. I think in this game, I was a little critical, and I was like, you don't have to do it that much. But this game, I'm all for it, because this is a group that has struggled against these types of defenses all throughout the season. So if you get them, maybe just under 50% of the time, like they've kind of been averaging all year long, I think we could see some possible mistakes from Haynes King or whoever it is under center forward, Texas A&M. So, I think it's a different matchup. I think it's very evenly matched in a lot of ways. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to, as typically, but the quarterback position. Which one is not going to make a mistake? I think if there's a quarterback that doesn't throw a pick in this game, I'm going to say that team probably wins.
I know I've already said it. I'm going to sound like a broken record, Anthony, but this is a huge game for Rattler, man. I just, at some point, it's like, because I really thought over the summer, I don't think I had unreasonable expectations for him. I really don't. And I think there's so many other moving pieces that maybe have not clicked that have caused him to not have the production or the numbers, or, how much do you put on play calling, O-line, receivers, himself, whatever. You can spread the blame out. But I said over the summer that I really felt like Spencer Rattler was going to have a game or maybe 2 where after that game's over, he leads the Gamecocks to victory. And you kind of look at that as a game like he put the team on his back. You wonder when that's going to come, if that's ever going to come. And what's so frustrating, I know, is like you mentioned, we know Seven has the talent. It's not like this is some 5-star guy that you're kind of hoping to see it. It's happened before. You know what I mean? It's literally happened before. And so I guess with matchups like these in these swing games, like you mentioned, this is where you need your guy to show up and show out. And big-time players win big-time games. We can talk coaching till we're blue in the face. We can talk play call, but big-time players make big-time plays, man. I think in a game like this, you kind of feel like, I know I said it going into Lexington, and I guess I was proven wrong, because you didn't get truly above average or elite quarterback play. I guess you did in that second half, and you see what happened, but you still won the game, right? But kind of just feels like one, like you mentioned, man, in the SEC week in, week out, you can't make a living with subpar quarterback play. It's going to catch up with you. So they're going to need 7 to be at his best on Saturday night.
100%. And I think this is kind of a game where we're really going to find out where the issues have lied. Is it really all, 7? Is it all the coaching? I think we'll probably get a good idea with this game. And I think honestly, we could see a situation. I wouldn't be surprised where, he may not be told to play his game, but he goes and plays his game anyway. And, he's trying to make those out of structure throws and try to put on the cape. I know they don't want him to do that anymore, but this could be a game where he starts to do that. And just like, I'm going to do it. We need it. And it's honestly, I'm looking horrible right now, both from a data perspective and the eyes of everyone. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a situation that plays out. But I mean, I think this is probably the biggest game he's maybe ever had, one of the biggest games. I mean, this is a career-altering game in my opinion, because if he goes out there and he lights up this defense, which again, it's a very good defense on the back end, and let's say South Carolina wins with multiple touchdowns, we're going to have a lot of interesting conversations, and I think a lot of people across the college football landscape are going to say, okay, is he back? Are we going to see the same type of player that we were all expecting? If so, I mean, South Carolina's 5-2. They got Mizzou and Vandy, and they got a Florida team that's kind of struggling a little bit. Next thing you know, you're like, okay, well, can they make a big run here and kind of be that sleeper team that no one saw coming in the second half of the season? So it's definitely a major game, major game for 7, and also the coaching staff. Because again, I think we're going to see, where there have been some problems. We're going to see where those problems actually lie.
Anthony, switching gears a little bit, when you look at Tennessee, right, because I found it so interesting. Obviously, everybody was watching that game, but certainly all of Gamecock Nation was watching and talking about it. And I think it stung a little more, obviously, because they're one of our yearly rivals in the SEC East that we have to play or what have you. But when you look at them offensively, I think the entire country is looking at Tennessee offensively, obviously. They're number 1 in all of college football. What are they doing, do you think, that's making them so successful on that side? Because I think that's what Gamecock fans are having the toughest time coming to terms with, is that Heupel and Beamer took over at the same time. But obviously in the year and a half or so since those two coaches have been at their respective schools, things have gone wildly different on the offensive side for Tennessee. And I don't feel like many South Carolina fans, whether this is accurate, inaccurate, or whatever, felt like the two programs were on very unequal footing in regards to talent, even on the offensive side. So when you look at Tennessee, what do you feel like they're doing that has made them so successful, whether it be scheme-wise? I mean, is it really just personnel? Is that great? What are they doing? What do you see that makes the Volunteers so lethal offensively?
I mean, I could probably talk hours about Tennessee's offense just in general. I could write a book on it. I could do a documentary. I love it. Me and my pal Seth Galena, he works here at PFF too. We talk football a lot. And I remember when this hire happened a couple of years ago, Coach Heupel going from UCF to Tennessee, and he ended up writing the piece. But we were talking about it, like, man, this could be huge. I mean, introducing this offense at the SEC level. So what they do, I mean, this is pretty vague, but I mean, they go sideline to sideline, right? I actually have a chart over on my Twitter at PFF_Anthony where you can kind of see the differences with the SEC offenses, but they take up sideline to sideline formation width. It's around 40 yards. It's like 8 yards more than any other offense in the SEC. FBS average is like 29, if I recall correctly. So it's a little bit different, and they also go up tempo, right? I mean, it's more than anybody else. And you look at like their average play clock remaining, it's above 20 seconds. Right. And the average is like 7 seconds slower than that. It's one of the highest in college football. So they're spreading you out. They're going quick, and they're trying to attack you vertically. So if you play single high coverage, if they catch you in that, and they got those two guys on the outside, what the quarterback's taught to do, Hendon Hooker, I mean, he's very good at it. You just watch him. It's cerebral. Just looks at the safety. He's staring at the safety. He knows he's going one side, right? Whatever side he has the better leverage battle on, he's going to, and he just sits there. And then you can see him. He just turns, go ball, and he's the guy that can fit that type of offense. And I think that's the biggest thing. I saw last year when they brought in Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker, I said Hendon Hooker is the better guy for that. He actually has the accuracy to kind of hit those plays downfield, and it's not a difficult offense. I actually think it's one of the easiest offenses in college football, and I put out a quarterback rankings piece this past week, and I had Hendon Hooker, I think, 8th. A lot of people were kind of upset about that, saying, he should be number 1, he should be top 3. And it's it's kind of hard to evaluate him because the offense is so friendly compared to what everybody else is doing, even in college football where there's a lot of friendly offenses. And I think that's when the pro evaluation aspect kind of comes into debate there. But they have the right guys. You look at somebody like Cedric Tillman, who didn't play against Bama, but he's been great before he got hurt. You know what he can do from a physicality perspective. But they have Jalen Hyatt. I always said Jalen Hyatt. I need to find it somewhere. I need to dig this up. It's one of the few times I'll ever take a victory lap. But you look at Jalen Hyatt, and I said a few years ago, this guy could be a game changer for this offense because he has the speed. He has exactly what they need. And you saw against Bama, he didn't. It wasn't his route running ability. I mean, of course, they were fine. It was great in that regard. But the reason why he had 5 touchdowns because he was faster than anybody else on that field. And you can just see him burn him, just cooking them right from the get go and getting over the top of the defense. And Alabama also kind of played him poorly, in my opinion. And I'm sure everybody else would say the same thing, obviously. But there's just they have the personnel there. I think it's one of the best offenses in college football. I mean, he really made Coach Heupel made Dylan Gabriel who he was before he got hurt last year, which is one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and hurt this year. I mean, they're running kind of I would say the same thing in Oklahoma, but something similar. So I think it's just well designed. I think it's very tiring, for those players, and I think too. I mean, it's just very play action oriented, and so it also sucks in those guys on defense. And with that up tempo, it really tires out those guys too. So they're very physical in the run game. You get those guys that are tired, but then you also have a quarterback who I mentioned that he knows how to make the throws. He goes out and carries out the offense by design, but he's also athletic. He can also run. You add another element to that. It's just so much to deal with from a defensive perspective. It takes the defenses out of their comfort zone. And it's just an awesome offense. I mean, it truly is. So that's kind of in short what Tennessee does and why they're so successful. So I wouldn't say like with Alabama, I think is Alabama this year because of Bryce Young, and I think we kind of saw it against Texas A&M. But with Tennessee, it's not because of Hendon Hooker. I think he's obviously a great deal of that, but I think it's because they have just the perfect system and they have the perfect guys to run that and carry it out on a weekly basis.
And you mentioned this too, the fact they've done it all without Cedric Tillman is wildly impressive. I mean, you see what Jalen Hyatt did over the weekend, and again, I know that's sort of a sore subject because the kid's from 20 minutes from Columbia, and Muschamp didn't offer him, and we just won't get into it. Anthony, I appreciate you taking the time. Before I get you out of here, man, obviously I want to get your feel on this game Saturday. If you want to lock in a prediction, you're more than welcome to do so. You obviously said you thought the spread was going to open up more than it did. So are you leaning to the Aggie side of things? Obviously, night game at Williams-Brice should be a raucous environment. What do you feel on this game Saturday night between the Gamecocks and Texas A&M?
I'll go SC 27, A&M 13. I think think it's going to be very difficult for A&M to score. Yeah, I think we're going to see if Haynes King is playing. I can't see them scoring. I know South Carolina's defense has some of their faults. I think Devonta Chain, I think that's how they're going to score. I think maybe he gets off like a 70-yard run or something like that, and that can score some points. But, from a passing perspective, Texas A&M just doesn't have the guys to do it. So I think that's kind of what comes to my prediction, and I think it could differ depending on what South Carolina does offensively. But Texas A&M's offense kind of a big reason behind that. But that's kind of my expectation for this weekend.
Anthony, sign me up for that score prediction right now. And it'd be crazy, man. Like I said, we talk about how it's such a week-to-week game. The Gamecocks could end up being 5-2 and could be staring potentially, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but 7-2 is not off the table. I mean, that's wild to say when you think about some of the ups and downs of this season, but hey, you'll take it if you can get it. Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. You guys go check out his work. Anthony, as always, I appreciate you taking the time to chat, man. We'll do it again next week.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon. Great stuff from Anthony Trish of Pro Football Focus. Really do appreciate him taking the time. Guys, again, I appreciate you all tuning in. Yeah, Anthony's got 27-13. 27-13 South Carolina. So be big. That would be big time. I'm just looking at your questions. I feel like I'm missing something. Looks like we got people going back and forth in the chat. Tyler Knoll says, Sat just said in his presser that, quote, running the ball has to be our identity, end quote. Does he not believe Spencer can air it out and make throws down the field? Isn't that the same guy that said we didn't bring him here to hand the ball off? Isn't that what he said? I don't know. Hell, I don't know, man. Connor Lee says, we can score 27. We had the opportunity to put up 30-plus against Kentucky, but did not do so. Maybe we can. Guys, I'm going to open up the phone lines. Here we go. Phone lines are open. I want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Charlie texts in. He says, Chris, love the show. Been following you since the disaster against UNC. Love to hear that. My question is, what offense do you really think Beamer wants to run? I've played a little ball and coached some. The term multiple generally means you are not very good at anything. The install is confusing as well in that you generally start simple and add. We are constantly talking about going back and simplifying. We were promised exciting offense that would attract recruits. Instead, we've been given a complicated pro-style offense that is not difficult to learn, which makes it translate poorly with the transfer portal. I think he means. Here we go. Will, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good morning. Doing pretty good, bro. How about you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
All right, bro. What do you think about us getting picked 14th to finish 14th in the men's basketball? Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, I did, and I posted about it. I mean, it's not shocking. I mean, I know we've got G.G. Jackson, but brand new head coach, brand new practically roster. I'm not shocked. You know what I mean? And I don't really – I don't want to call year one of Lamont Paris a wash. That's the wrong way to put it. But I go into it with zero expectations, man. I really do. It's about building year one, kind of figuring out what you have. So I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not. I mean, what's the difference if we got picked 13th or 12th? I mean, what difference does it make? You know what I mean? Like we're getting picked at the bottom. I mean, it kind of is what it is. I don't know.
It's a certain type of feeling when you get picked last, though. You know, it's
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you're on the playground and you get picked, next to last, you don't feel so bad. But no, I just thought it was funny. I know there was so much turnover that's probably part of it. It's just so much unknown as to what's going to happen or whatever. But I think we're going to be decent. I mean, I don't expect us to be great, but I think we could win in the ballpark of 18 to 20 games, hopefully. I just feel like there's a different energy there. Secondly, about the Texas A&M game, it just feels like the first time we really had a chance in a long time, Like, I mean, this is the first time where we're going into it and we really feel like it's a toss-up game. Mm-hmm. I mean, that hasn't really felt like that before. So, with that being said, what are we 4-0 under the lights, 5-0 under the lights?
We are undefeated at night this season. Yeah, I mean, granted, 2 of those wins were against Charlotte and SC State, but hey, the facts are we're undefeated. Or 3 of those wins were Georgia State, SC State, Charlotte. Either way, though, hey, we got a little mojo under the lights.
Good
so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, got to feel good about that. I'll be at the Missouri game next week, so
okay,
I'll come by and holler at you.
Yeah, come say what's up, man. Be a good time.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll hop off of here, bro. Later, man.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the call. Really bit of good stuff. Again, I'm I was kind of surprised to hear Anthony Trish say he's got 27-13. 27-13 Carolina beating Texas A&M. I tell you what, that's okay. I mean, that's a 2. I will sign up for a 2-touchdown victory in a freaking heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see, guys. Again, we're diving into your questions. Check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Those tuned into the podcast version of TDC on the Spurs Up Show podcast feed, thank you all so much. Really do appreciate it. Again, if you did not know, the TDC is now, we used to have our own podcast feed for the Daily Crow. Now it's on the Spurs Up Show podcast feed. Just streamlines everything, makes everything much, much simpler for you guys. Of course, TDC, the podcast version, is still dropping at 3:00 every single day after the fact. So those who are tuned in that are wondering, I subscribe to the Daily Crow podcast feed. Where is it? I just realized it's easier for folks to have it all streamlined in one feed. So let's jump to the phone lines. Tucker, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you doing? I just had a couple questions and I was going to hang up.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wanting to say, why ain't we using Jaheim Bell more and offense, like that Mayfield Bennett just committed to Tennessee. Like, why would anybody want to come play for offense like that? That's why he probably went to Tennessee, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, why are we not? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's all I had to say, and I just don't see. Yeah, nobody would want to come play for Satterfield right now with the play calling he's doing and all that kind of ish. But I guess we'll see how it plays out the rest of the season. I'll let you go, and I'll hear your thoughts on YouTube.
Okay, Tucker, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much for the questions. Really good questions. First thing on Jaheim Bell, why is he not getting the ball more? That is the $1 million question, my friend, or whatever Marcus Satterfield's yearly contract is. Put that dollar amount on it. That's the question. I'm not saying that Jaheim Bell, is some. I'm not saying he's like the best player in college football or anything like that, but man, I don't know. It's weird. it's weird how little of an impact Jaheim Bell has made this season. I mean, really, truly, when you think about it. And I know defenses are accounting for him. They're covering him, right? They know we want to go to him, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I don't have a great answer for you. I don't have a great answer for you. In regards to the Bennett kid, yeah, I mean, listen, the word on the street is that he went to or committed to Tennessee right now because it's much more attractive to go play offense for them versus playing offense for us. And he's not a believer that we're going to have a dynamic, prolific offense. Again, you can think whatever you want, guys, this year. That's where you lose me, though. You can think whatever you want about, well, it's on 7, it's on the line, it's, Marcus Satterfield's smart, he knows. But I tell you this, I don't give a damn how good you think your scheme is. If high school kids are looking at your scheme and saying, I don't want to go play there because it's not explosive, it's not dynamic, I'm not going to have a great opportunity to maximize my abilities. If that's what kids think, you have to read the room. You have to make a change. You just have to, because if you can't get these top-notch athletes because of that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. So that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. When it starts to affect recruiting, that's where you lose me. So Travis Allen says he's got us taking an L this weekend. I don't think Rattler has a good game. Turns the ball over twice, 21-19. Texas A&M. Guys, again, I will drop my prediction for the game on Friday. In the meantime, I've got my best bet under 44.5 is what I got for this one. I do think it's a lower scoring game, man. 2 of the worst offenses in the SEC statistically. I think it's going to be the greatest pillow fight of the season. I don't know, man. I do think it hits the under. I think South Carolina defensively will play a solid game. I think, to Anthony Trish's point, if Haynes King does play, I think that helps us. I don't know that it really matters who plays quarterback for A&M. I don't think it matters. I don't think either side will have some sort of offensive explosion. I tell you what, the over-under 23, that first half total, that's the play of the century. That's the play of the century, my friends. Lady Bree says we're getting top recruits at all positions, and we're freaking out over one position, LOL. Well, Lady Bree, when you lose the, I think, number 1 player in the state, and it's a wide receiver, and they pick Tennessee, I mean, that's worth talking about. I'm not freaking out over it, but it sucks. It sucks. Those are guys you don't want to lose. You trust Beamer, but when you're not getting a guy like that who's in your state and he's going to Tennessee, yeah, Lady Bree, that's noteworthy. That's worth talking about. That's worth talking about. Whether you think it is or not, it is. It is. Let's see. Owen Turner, I think our quote-unquote amazing OC put Bell in the doghouse because of Stoddard's arrival. We have to get Bell going. He's too good of a talent to waste. Yeah, I think Jaheim Bell is criminally underutilized. I don't know, man. I feel so bad for Josh Mann, too. I really do. I feel bad for Josh Mann. Let's see. Lady Bree, we lost A.J. Green to Georgia. You are really bringing up something that happened like 15 years ago. I'm not saying we're going to get them all. I'm not saying that, Lady Bree, but I'll go with the people that I've talked to behind the scenes and why that's a big deal over the YouTube banter. Let me just put it that way. So I'll just say that. It is a big deal. I think it's a big deal. I think it is. And especially when the reason is because of perception's reality and the perception that your offense is boring, is stagnant, is not fun to play in. And the numbers support that, by the way. I don't think this is just some bullshit narrative that's been come up with. I think when you watch us, would you say that we're dynamic? Would you say that, Lady Bree, did you want to fire Spurrier because we missed on AJ Green? Lady Bree, who is saying fire Shane Beamer because we missed on AJ, or that we missed on the Bennett kid? Who's saying that? I'm just saying it's a bothering thing. And if you're missing on a kid because the perception is your offense is boring, right? If you're missing on a kid because the perception is your offense stinks and it isn't dynamic, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. There's no way to spin that. No, Lady Bree, don't fire Satterfield over Mazio, however you say his first name. Don't fire Satterfield over that. Fire Satterfield because the offense stinks. That's why. I don't give a damn what your film says. The offense stinks. It stinks. The numbers support that claim. Maybe the next 6 games will not be what I think it's probably going to be, but the offense has stunk. The offense has been boring. The offense has been bland. The offense has been it's like a wall, man. Anyways, here we go. Here we go. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
So what do you think the Carry-On Joiner's role is on the team at the current date?
Are you trying to start a shitstorm on social media or what?
No, I love the Carry-On Joiner.
I do too. I think Shane Beamer talked about it yesterday, and that he was asked about it. I don't know if you saw his quote. Said that he's making an impact for us on special teams, and he's working out at receiver. And I think really what it comes down to, man, is that he is a wide receiver, and there's just only so many reps to go around. So, listen, the last time I talked about the Carry-On Joiner and gave an honest evaluation of his role in the football team, all hell broke loose. But, his role is that he's wide receiver 5 or 6, and he's not a quarterback. And, I'm surprised they haven't used him a little bit more in some sort of, even if it's just like some package or some gadget play or some trick play, but they haven't. So I have seen him on special teams a lot, but I think his role is he's a backup wide receiver. That's it.
And then what do you think about Josh Vann being so underutilized on the offense?
It's shocking. It's surprising. It's surprising. I knew Antoine Wells was going to be a dude for us, but I really thought it would be 1A, 1B, Wells and Vann. And, some people want to blame Josh Vann for, maybe he didn't put the work ethic in. I don't know. I don't know, man. We don't know behind the scenes, but it's surprising. It's surprising to say the least. I don't know what has changed from last year to this year, but some disconnect. I don't know. So it's surprising though. Very surprising.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. And I wasn't trying to snap at my dude there asking the Carry-On Joiner question, but just, listen, the last time I gave an honest evaluation of the Carry-On Joiner's role in the football team, people wanted me kicked off the internet. Was I wrong? No. But people wanted me kicked off the internet. So here's the thing. You want to ask the question. You don't want to hear the answer. That's the fact of the matter when it comes to that Joiner. People all have the same question. They just don't want, and they know what the answer is. They just don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it. So, Travis Allen says, when does the Sat Sucks merch come out? Well, what's so funny? The Fire Sat merch is literally in the drafts right now. The Fire Sat merch is in the drafts. So, I don't know. I can't put my finger on when or if or what have you. When it's meant to be, it'll happen. And hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it doesn't. Guys, that being said, I got a lot to say, but right now we're going to jump into a quick break. On the other side, though, phone lines are open. Want to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking their questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. I was racking my brain about this over the break. And to Lady Bree's point, losing Bennett, it's just one player, right? On the flip side, though, one player is too many. And if there's a perception out there that, man, don't go to Columbia, you're going to play in a boring offense, you're not going to get the football, it's not going to be flashy or fun to watch, you're not going to get to the next level. Well, Bree, I can tell you this. If one player's thinking that, those players talk, those prospects talk to each other. If that's the perception with one player, it's the perception with multiple, and one's too many. That's just the rumor, right? But damn it, per sources season, well, per sources, the perception is that we stink on offense. And guess what? The numbers don't do anything to refute that claim. What can we say? No, we're dynamic. Show me. Where? Where are we dynamic? Even when it works, it looks like it's an accident. Hey, there's 6 games to go. It might look completely different. But to this point, what we've seen is what we've seen. You can drag Spencer Rattler through the mud all you want. But this guy was once thought of as a Heisman Trophy favorite, maybe the number 1 overall draft in the NFL draft at some point. What have we done with him? Lady Bree, let me just put it to you this way. It's a rumor, but it's not a rumor. Let me just leave it at that. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you who my people are. You know them, though. Okay, let's jump to the phone lines. John, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, man. What's going on?
All right, good. Just making sure. I know we don't want to harp on this issue, but I did hear the whole issue of Jack Joyner, and I thought on that. Has it ever got to some people that maybe guys like, I know we have to start this year, but guys like Josh Fan, Antoine Wells, Jalen Brooks this year, Amarian Brown. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but those 4 in particular, and that would lead Joyner, like I said, 5, 6 on the receiving depth chart. But like, have people not convinced that those it's probably a little bit of both. Dak, it's not a natural wide receiver, and maybe those 4 or 5 guys in that maybe just flat out better.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just why I look at it.
Yeah.
I love that. But he's not a nice wide receiver, and it goes back to, I hate to say this, and we don't want to hear it, but I think Dak's biggest downfall was he wasn't developed by the previous staff.
Yeah, I think most would probably agree with that. I think most would agree with that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I don't think thoughts on that, and I know people don't want to hear that. Maybe guys just better than Dak. That's why receiver was the tall. He's not that. I heard actually one other thing I was calling about. I heard Will Collins. I think he said 18 to 20 weeks for the men's basketball team. I mean, look, I get guys who want to be optimistic about this men's basketball program, but like we're told off on that. Like, this dude, you're gonna be one of the new head coach, and maybe he's been optimistic about close to 20 wins this year, maybe because they have a new head coach. And look, I'm just excited this year to watch him on this basketball because it's something to do.
Yeah.
Like, let me that's like about Frank, and I know we don't all give true sense about Frank anymore, but like I remember when he said, people don't kind of called out our fan base. I think it's what he did. He said people don't want to come out and watch us play. I'm like, well, dude. It's because you're not winning. If you be winning, people would come out. People don't want to come out to watch your men play. And with the dog shit probably like you were putting on for like the last decade.
Yeah. No, I'm excited I'm excited for a new start for Gamecocks basketball for sure on the men's side. I appreciate the call, John Edward. I'm excited for a new start. I know you're picked 14th. I mean, whatever, man. It is what it is. New coach, new players. I know you got GG, but yeah, that where you were picked doesn't shock me at all. To the point of, again, a lot of conversation. I love it. Beauty's in the banter. I don't think Satterfield's a brain dead idiot. I don't think Satterfield is clueless when it comes to football. And again, if you don't like what I'm saying to everybody out there, if you don't like what I'm saying about the offense, guys, I'm just a product of what's happening on the field. Kentucky was great and everything, but like to insinuate that we are this dynamic, flashy offense that, you know, I think it's just foolish. Like you have garnet glasses on. You can put all the blame on Spencer Rattler if you want. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the blame. Hey, he's had plays to make. I agree with you. The play call against Kentucky, the pass to Stogner, bad throw. He's missed throws throughout this season, missed throws against Arkansas. But the fact of the matter is this, whether you want to blame him, if you want to blame personnel, if this season continues, let's just say we go 7-5 though, right? But let's say Rattler has a poor year. It's going to reflect back on Satterfield. Like he's also building out his resume. He's building out his resume. And what I'm going to think of is Marcus Satterfield really took Spencer Rattler, an NFL caliber quarterback, and did nothing with him. That's not good for recruiting. It's just not. It's not good for recruiting. And again, to the point of this Bennett kid and his perception that, man, that offense is not really good. It's not dynamic. I can go to Tennessee and be a star player. Look what Jalen Hyatt's doing. I can go perform that way. They're not featuring their playmakers at South Carolina. That's more than just a rumor. I promise you. It's more than a rumor. And I understand it's just one guy. Well, it's just one guy you know about. It's just one guy that you know about. One is too many. One is too many. I'm not saying burn the whole thing down. You're going to miss on some recruits. You're going to get your fair share. You're going to miss on some recruits. But let me ask you this, if that's a perception, how do we change that? Yes, Lady Bree, Spencer Rattler was much better last year than he is this year. Yes. He might have gotten benched, but you look at the statistics, they were wildly better. In my opinion, 11 touchdowns to 5 picks. That's a whole lot better than what he's done this point. Joseph, I wasn't even talking about you, bro, when I was talking about garnet glasses. I just was saying in general, like if you think that I'm also not a miserable son of a bitch, Joseph. I can assure you I'm not a miserable son of a bitch. I just think we're a team this year that we needed to, rely on the run game. We're not dynamic offensively. I don't even know what we're arguing. I really don't at this point. There we go. Brian, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, man?
Just chilling, man. What's up?
No, I just want to clear the air. Like, let's just say something crazy happened. Let's say we run a table and go undefeated. That still got to go. Like, I think people forget like how great it was on the Spur area that we win the games knowing that we can score points, even with a jacked up defense or a line that wasn't really that great in some years, but Spurrier was able to score points, and Sat has proven over time already that in a short time that he can't score points, and that's bad. And I think some of the players we got in this era under Beamer are kind of sort of, if not comparable, to some of Spurrier's skilled players he had. And I think to have all the skilled players not score the way we can, it's just horrible. We can't deal with that. I know if you look at Tennessee and Alabama game, it was exciting because they were scoring. Not because the defense plays. Like we need to score points, and we're not doing that. And so I don't care what happens towards the end of the season. Zach still got to go because I don't want him to have a good season and everything. We stuck in game 2 of next year. It's Zach falls south. Or no, you need to make a decision. No matter how it goes, the rest of the year, Zach still has to go.
Fair enough, Brian. I think well said, my friend. I appreciate the call.
All right.
Yeah. Take care. For those that couldn't hear what Brian Bennett said, he said no matter what, basically, Satterfield's got to go. Let me just say this too, though, because the beauty truly is in the banter. I think at this point, I'd say conservatively, 90% of this fan base wants Marcus Satterfield gone, barring an incredible final 6 games. You can disagree, right? We all want the same thing, right? We all bleed the garnet and black. We all want the same thing to occur in regards to our team winning games, even if we have differing opinions on how we think it should happen. But I would just say this. I don't give a damn again how many hours of film you watch, how much you want to break down scheme and say this is here or that's here. Like at the end of the day, how can you really come down on anyone that says, hey, I think we need to change our OC at season's end. Like, what has happened on the field of play? What do the numbers say? Like, I don't think anyone's outlandish for saying that the Gamecocks need to change their OC. You know what I mean? Like, so if you disagree, that's fine. But to talk down to people because it's like, well, you don't know the scheme. You don't know this. It's like, I'm all for somebody, earning their job and, hey, we go score 40 points per game the rest of the way. Then bring Sat back. Bring Sat. Fine. I just want to win. I don't give a damn who the OC is. I don't care who the quarterback is. See, that's the funny thing. People think, well, you've got a personal vendetta against this player or that coach. No. What's good for South Carolina is good for me. It's good for business. Carolina winning is good for business. I don't care who's in charge. I don't think many of us do. But to act like somebody doesn't know ball, dude. Gamecock fans are just a product of what their team puts on the field. So you don't have all these people complaining about the offense and complaining about Satterfield because they're stupid. Gamecock fans are not stupid. They're smart people. It's a great fan base. They're not idiots. They're just reacting to the product they're seeing on the field. That's it. So you might disagree. You might think Sat's an offensive genius. But to say that people are crazy for insinuating that maybe a change needs to be made at OC, they're not. And there's no statistics, there's no proof that you have or anybody has to say that if you're calling for the OC's job, you're just way off base. I would just say this, even if I was a Sat defender, I'd say, I believe in the system. I believe in the scheme. I see what they're trying to do. But I also agree on that same token that they've got to put up the numbers to get people on their side. And then when you hear things behind closed doors, and again, guys, call it a rumor. I can assure you, if you're in the Big Cock Club Discord, you know who said it, by the way. I can assure you this Bennett thing is far more than just a rumor. That his perception is he doesn't see our offense getting better. He thinks our offense is stale and boring and not dynamic. And he looks at Tennessee, he sees a dynamic, explosive offense. That's why he chose Tennessee over Carolina. And you might say, well, it's just one player. I understand it's just one player, but one is too many. It is. It's too many. One turns into two, which turns into three, which turns into five. Then it just keeps going and snowballing. I'm not saying fire Sat because of that recruit, but that's a problem. I don't give a damn how smart you think you are, how good you think your scheme is. If you can't recruit the best talent, you can't get them to come play for you, you don't have a chance to begin with. Nobody's at this point, let me just say this too. I don't talk down to people like my opinion's right and yours is wrong. There's a reason why I take so much feedback from people. I love the calls. Hey, I learn things from you guys when you call in. It's why I like to have guests on. I learn from them, right? Admittedly, I'm a baseball guy. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm going to walk you guys through film and we're going to look at X's and O's together but what's going on, man? How are you?
Good. I called him a while ago about the Mayfield event and all that kind of stuff, but I was just going to tell you, I have a buddy that's a coach for the Greenville high school team here too, and he said that he spoke to Mayfield a lot about Tennessee and South Carolina and all the other schools he was interested in. That's basically what he's saying. That you said that South Carolina's offense is boring. He didn't want to go play for them, and
Yeah, I mean, I think
I
it's a lot more than a rumor now. It's kind of almost just well known at this point.
Hey,
So
you speak to these other recruits and stuff too, and so they ain't no telling. They need to, they need to drastic change in offense. But
and if that, I'll say this to that point, if that happens under Satterfield, I'd be more than happy for that to happen under Satterfield. I'm like, again, I don't care who the OC is, but there will have to be sort of a reinventing of what they want to do, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it is boring, dude. It is boring.
I want him to. Yeah, you sit there and watch a game. I know it's exciting to watch defense, and the special teams obviously is doing good, but you sit there and watch that offense and make you want to drink or just whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a student at South Carolina.
I got you. So. Yeah, it'll make you want to drink a Rebel Rabbit or two and just chill out. So, that's for sure.
But like I said, I mean, I want Satterfield to do good, but shit, if he can't, he's gonna have to make a change and get somebody else up in there.
Yeah, I mean, we said it all summer long, man. Your personnel was lacking last year. Now you've got the guys really this year. I mean, there's just no excuse. So
he's really just left around because of the bowl game, to be honest with you, North Carolina game. I believe Beamer's going to have to do something. That interview he had where he said that, like, all these people on Twitter didn't know anything that they was talking about. Shoot, most of us played high school football and all that kind of stuff too. So
yeah,
we know what we're talking about in some of the aspects of the game, but I'm sure I'll trust in Beamer, but you can't be like this friendly thing that Ray Tanner has, doing all this crap, stuff like that too.
Mm.
You eventually got to get rid of some of these people. Just like the baseball coach. If he don't do good this year, I'd get rid of him.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the put up or shut up year for Kingston for sure. No doubt.
Oh yeah, buddy. Well, I'll let you go. I'm sorry to call in a second time. You have a good one.
No, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Again, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, we'll see what happens the final 6 games. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens the final 6 games. Again, I just think that I think it's a debatable topic. And listen, I'll tell you this, because there's this misconception in college sports, right? And you see it with some other Gamecock entities and outlets that, well, if you need to have a tough conversation, they're going to say nothing. They'd rather say nothing at all than say something that could be perceived as negative. That's obviously not how I operate. And I'll tell you this, a lot of college fans, they will take bringing the heat and bringing the pressure as, well, you're being negative. Why? I will never do so. I will never apologize for bringing the heat. Pressure is a good thing. Pressure is a good thing. You need pressure. You need people that have influence to bring pressure. So, like, for example, in the preseason, when I said something about Jordan Birch, put up or shut up time, he's approaching bust territory, I don't apologize for saying that. Hey, it's pressure. Welcome to Carolina. Welcome to the SEC. Pressure creates diamonds. Pressure is a good thing. I'll never apologize for applying pressure. And hey, so if Satterfield needs to feel like his job's on the line to go out and call the best game of the season and we beat A&M, then hell yeah, I won't apologize for applying pressure. Pressure's a good thing in my mind, man. Pressure's a privilege. Pressure's a privilege. That being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into a quick break. On the other side, I want to continue to hear from you, more your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. I'll say this because I'm not going to spend the rest of this show just ranting over and over and over again about Marcus Satterfield. The bottom line is this. I hope on Saturday we have one more point than A&M. I don't give a damn if it's 3-2. I hope we have one more point than A&M. I trust that Shane Beamer will make whatever necessary changes or not changes that he feels needs to be made. I trust that he will make those decisions, and he will make decisions that will best benefit South Carolina football in the present and in the future. So I'll just leave it at that and, hope we can find a way to win us a couple ball games down the stretch. So I'll just say that. Anyways, Coach Ford says pressure is – I think he accidentally tagged somebody. Good. We as a fan base attack one another too much. Some like me feel Beamer, White, nor Satterfield have done jack to earn the blind loyalty many want to freely give. Some, like Bree and Lynn, are loyal to this crew simply because they chose to take our contract offer of employment. Beamer and crew owe us proof they deserve our loyalty, not vice versa. Pressure is good. Well, I mean, Coach Ford, I'm not going to sit here and say we can have critical conversation on this show. That's why I love doing this show, and that's why I love chatting with you all. But, Coach Ford, let's call it what it is. Isn't blind loyalty just part of being a fan? Like, you don't have much choice, right? Because the other option is guilty till proven innocent, and that's just a shitty way to live. That it's like, let me put it to you this way. It's like going into a new relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever it is. But it's like going into a new relationship and just putting all that baggage from the past on them, right? And so, that's not going to lead to a lot of happy times, is it? So, part of just being a fan, this goes so far beyond South Carolina. This goes to every sport. Part of being a diehard fan is sort of blind loyalty. That's kind of how it goes, right? Is it not? For every fan base, the head coach that you hire, the OC, every coach, they're the guy until they're not, right? They're the guy until they're not. Look at Muschamp. And I'm not saying you, Coach Ford, but I'm just saying there were a lot of people. When I said it after that UNC game 2019, it's cool to hate Muschamp now. It's cool to hate Muschamp. I remember very vividly after that UNC game back in 2019 when I said fire Will Muschamp. Bro, you would have thought, God, social media was a war on a daily basis. People wanted me exiled. There's people right now I know for a fact that are huge fans of mine that hated me at that time. Heck, we got one of them, our guy Brendan M. in the Big Cock Club Discord. He wasn't a fan of mine when I said that. So, college fans in general, they will, and it's the beauty of it, right? It's the beauty of it. They will ride with you until the very end. Until it's just so blatantly obvious you're not the guy, you can't ignore it anymore, fans will ride with you to the end. So, again, back to Coach Ford, his original, point that he made, some of it, call it for what it is blind loyalty. Coach Ford, you have to trust that Beamer's the guy. You have to trust that he's going to work out. You have to trust that he's going to hire guys that are going to give you the best opportunity to win. What other choice do you have? To doubt Beamer at every turn? That kind of creates a miserable existence for you as a fan. You know what I mean? It just does. It just does. It creates a miserable existence for you as a fan. I'm not saying be just so blindly loyal in the sense that don't question anything, because guys, I'll even say right now, I'm behind Shane Beamer 110%. But if you ask me today, Chris, is it a guarantee that Beamer's going to be a wild success here? No, it's not a guarantee. I'd still say the same thing. I will say this, that I feel like South Carolina football will be in a much better spot when he leaves than when he got here. But is it a guarantee we're going to win the SEC title? Is it a guarantee we're going to win a national title? No. None of those things are guarantees. Is it a guarantee we're going to have even remotely near the success we had in our Spurrier with Beamer? No, I don't think so. Beamer was a roll of the dice. I said that when he was hired, but it was a roll of the dice we needed to take. I agreed with the roll of the dice, but it was a roll of the dice. A guy that had never been a coach before. A guy who had never been a coach before. So I don't know. I mean, that's why I'll say this. That's why I thought, and Coach Ford might disagree, but that's why I genuinely thought that it was smart to bring Satterfield back for this season, because right now we're in a good spot. Hey, I love the fact that the entire comment section, that all the heat is being pointed at Marcus Satterfield. Love that. He's the scapegoat right now. He's the scapegoat. If this next OC has to be the guy. He has to be. Because what will slowly happen is, if he's not, let's say you go hire another OC. Let's say he's another no-name. Oh, God forbid. Let's say he's another no-name. And the offense still isn't dynamic next year, and it's boring, and it's not clicking. The blame will slowly but surely shift. It'll go up the ladder. It'll say, well, obviously Beamer just can't identify offensive talent, offensive coaches. He can't identify. He's just known for having bad offenses. It's exactly what happened to Muschamp. So this next OC hire is wildly important. Because, I mean, again, I would just say this. This is not me trying to be right. This is me just giving my honest evaluation. I don't care if you want to blame, you think Spencer Rattler's overrated and he's not very good. If you want to say the O-line, if you want to say our talent on the outside's not as good, if you want to blame Satterfield, I don't care who you want to blame. The bottom line is, our offense through the halfway point of the season has fallen below the expectations I had for it. And I don't feel like my expectations were all that crazy. I don't think they were all that crazy. The offense has not been what I expected it to be, and there's still a lot of football to go. Hey, the beautiful thing is we're having this conversation, and we're 4-2. But the offense hasn't been what I expected it to be. It's created – I backed Satterfield coming in the year. And I'm not even sitting here saying that I'm a staunch fire Sat guy. I'm not saying that. And I don't know who Lady Bree is saying this to. I'm just going to read the comment. You won't see as much watching the games, drinking, and being emotional. You have to go back and watch and rewatch to see things sometimes. I listen to things the players and coaches say and apply that. I hope you're not talking to me, because I don't even drink anymore. I just thought I'd make that point. Anyways, the offense just hasn't been, again, there's a lot of football left. These next 4 obviously define the season. These are the swing games that you really need. But the offense hasn't been what I thought it'd be. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think that's even remotely a hot take. It just hasn't. I did not expect Spencer Rattler to have 5 touchdowns and 8 picks at the halfway point. That's insane to me. And the fact, if you'd have told me over the summer that at the halfway point, Rattler's going to have 5 TDs, 8 picks, and we're going to be -6 in the turnover margin and still be 4-2. But with that being said, and Coleman Hall gets me to, I kind of got off track there. I was trying to make a point. I got off track. Because what I was going to say is, I'm not trying to be right. I'm just giving you my honest assessment of what I see on the offense, in the sense that whether it's Rattler, the O-line, the playmakers, it's Satterfield, I genuinely feel like for the pieces we have on offense, we should be better. That's all I'm saying. I posed the question to you. I posed the question, right? I posed the question, do you feel like through 6 games, we're getting the most out of the players we have on the roster? If you say yes, then I've got nothing to say to you. Fine. If that's what your expectations were, fine. Fine. I thought we'd be getting more out of guys like Jaheim Bell and Josh Vann. And obviously Rattler himself. And hey, again, maybe we blow up on Saturday, and maybe the second half against Kentucky, is the spark we needed, but it doesn't feel like we're getting the most out of them. And I'm not saying that, our ceiling is where Tennessee is. I don't think that's fair to say, but it still just doesn't feel like we're getting the most out of them. Just my take. Anyways, guys, phone lines are open. You can call in. I know we're spending the entire day talking Satterfield, and I wish that really wasn't the case, to be honest. I'm really excited. I'll say this. Courtney Washington says, Chris, you have to speak how you feel on certain topics, and also if you have inside sources, you have to go off the info you have rather than sugarcoating things. Yeah, I mean, I call it as I see it, man. I have people tell me all the time, Chris, never change, and please don't ever change. I couldn't, guys. I couldn't. Listen, I've worked in the corporate world where I was told what to wear, when to be there, what to say, how to act. I sure as shit didn't get into this to have that be the case. I say what I say. I speak my truth. If it ever got to a point where I couldn't, if I didn't have creative control, I wouldn't do it anymore. So I'm never going to change. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and that's it. And the beauty's in the banter. Whether I'm wrong, whether we disagree, the beauty's in the banter. So, yeah, I mean, M. Colt, beautiful, beautifully put. What a poem. He says it's just a rational conversation by the offense. The offense is underperformed, and even potential recruits see it. Lynn Turner says, I'm a Beamer believer. I want to bring in someone new and give them time to build. It took Spurrier 6 years to have a winning record in the SEC at South Carolina. I'm tired of retreads. Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer in Beamer as well. And again, it's funny that, it is what it is. We have to say that. There's just not a lot of patience in college football these days. So, Zach Attack in the TDC Questions Channel Big Cock Club Discord. He says, expectations, I didn't think we'd be able to give the ball to all the playmakers that we have on paper and was hopeful our offense would go off for around 30 and such. We've hit the 30 points per game mark, just not because of offense play majority of the time. And I would say this, let's see where we're at when the dust settles, right? I think 2 games against, really 3 actually, against Georgia State, SC State, and Charlotte have swayed that number quite a bit. And I know if you're someone like Coach Ford and you said it's got to be at 30 points per game in SEC play, then you feel much different because, when you factor in, when you average what? 37, 57, 57, 64. So what are we averaging? 21 points per game, just a little bit over 21 points per game in 3 SEC games. Granted, one of those was against Georgia where you scored 7. These final 6 will tell us all we got to know. That's kind of the way I look at it. When you look at Marcus Satterfield, these final 6 games, and don't discount Kentucky. That second half was great, but these final 6 will really tell you everything you need to know. That's it. Especially these next 4. And really, you could throw Tennessee in there too, because their defense isn't great. I mean, Tennessee, you're going to have to probably score 40 to have any chance. At minimum 30. At minimum 30. So. Anyways, guys, let's see. Travis Allen says, Chris, what's going to be the feel of Sat if he calls another bland game and Rat does not protect the ball and we come out with an L? Travis, the feel is going to be fire Satterfield. That's what it's going to be. It's just going to be it's going to be more of what people are already feeling, just at a heightened level. That's what it's going to be. That's all it's going to be. That's all it's going to be. So. I don't think they're going to make a change mid-season or anything, but the heat will be on. There's no doubt. The heat will be on. Caden Gibson says, say what you want about Bell, but he can't catch, and it's shown. And Van isn't as good as Brooks. So you think, yes, what? I'm sorry, I may have missed the last part of your statement. Anyways, guys, phone lines are open. Want to continue to hear from you. 843-790-3377. I tell you what, we need kickoff, right? We need a game to talk about because right now we're just we're just beating Satterfield into the ground. So and I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about Sat to that extent, but it is the topic of conversation. It is the topic of conversation, no doubt. No doubt. I tell you what really got people going yesterday was, well, I was going to say I don't have to dive into it, but what really got people going yesterday was, there are certain things that's interesting that will just forever, they will forever create banter, right? Like if you want debate, it's like bring up this topic, right? And we can just forever go on. Like Dacarrion Joyner, for example. Dacarrion Joyner, that will forever be a name and a conversation that creates hella debate. And so, like, I posted the quote yesterday from, Shane Beamer was asked about Dak Joyner. And, I mean, it's just people still going on and on and on about it. Just still going on and on and on. It's just forever one of them things. Forever. I don't know if it'll be after he leaves. We'll still be talking about it, but it'll forever be a debate. Let's see. Jeff Bolton says, no way that you say he, but I think you mean Satterfield. No way he's back. Beamer would take so much shit if he doesn't make a change. If the offense continues to be putrid and he brings Sat back, I think it's career suicide. I just really do. I think I really not in the sense of like, I'm going to be like, oh, you got to call for Beamer's job. I'm just saying like, you're making your life so much harder. You're making your life so much harder. It's like SEC Mike said when he came on our show a couple weeks ago when he said, don't hire your buddies and don't hire your family. That's it. That's it. Caden Gibson says, yes, we are getting the most out of our playmakers other than quarterback. Okay. Caden thinks we're getting the most out of our playmakers, just not out of quarterback. Let's see. We got a text here with our offensive talent and weapons. It wasn't an unfair judgment preseason. I think we would have made a giant leap in production from year 1 to year 2. Sat can kick rocks, in my opinion. Hopefully he's got a better game plan for A&M with 2 weeks to prepare. Great show as always. Let's get a damn dub and will he be under the lights? Hell yeah. And that's the other thing we're not factoring in, by the way. Bye week Sat. What does bye week Sat have up his sleeve? Marcus Satterfield with extra time to get ready is hell on wheels, folks. Hell on wheels. Craig Godwin says, I love DK, but no debate. He's our 5th best receiver and at best, our 3rd best quarterback. Somebody else post. Craig, don't post that on Facebook. You will get crucified. Yeah, trust me. You will. You will. I'll tell you this, though, and I will say this. Let's see. Somebody commented about most. Yeah, here we go. Sholin says DK, most selfless player on the team. And I agree, Sholin. But it goes to show it goes to show. I mean, again, I think it was probably a great decision for him when it comes to NIL. I mean, I think he's benefited greatly from that. You know, I listen, I don't fault him if Dak Joyner has the self-awareness to know that, hey, playing in the NFL is either something I don't want to do, or he just realizes it's something that's probably not in his future, right? Then going somewhere else and being, you know, playing full-time and being a starter, that might not be a priority. You know, it might, if he has the self-awareness to understand that and say, you know what, it's more beneficial for me and my family to stay in Columbia and benefit from this NIL stuff. The guy's made over 6 figures from the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Then you know what? Kudos to him. That's a business move. And as a business man, I can respect the hell out of Dak Joyner being a business man, right? But when it comes to like loyalty and all that, it's all great and everything. But that's why I said that, you know, that's why I said about like Luke Doty. Like, you got to take care of yourself, man, because at the end of the day, the team's going to take care of themselves. So you got to take care of yourself. Some people might label that as selfish, but if your goal's to get to the next level and you want to play, and I mean, you got to look out for you, man. You got to look out for you. School's going to look out for them. You got to look out for you. AJ Bauer says, imagine we pull a 2021 Florida game this Saturday and win by 20 points. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, you never know. You never know. By week, we could be having a totally different conversation this time next week. Totally different. Well, Hunter, there'd be no point in Dak Joyner joining RJ Rodgers because Dak Joyner's played in every game this year, special teams or what have you. And this is his final year. So this is it. This season is it for Dak Joyner when it comes to college football. Unless I misunderstood something, I believe this is his final year of college football. So, I mean, listen, man, I hope he has a moment this year. I think it'd be a damn shame if we just go through this entire season and Dak Joyner, you know, never touches the field, finishes with 2 all-purpose yards or whatever he has like right now. I mean, it'd be a shame. It'd be a shame. It'd be a shame. And again, it's one of those things that, like I mentioned, it'll always move the needle. It'll always move the needle because he's a guy that has a skill set that, you know, most just feel like has not been utilized, just bottom line. So, yeah, anyways. AJ Bowers, yeah, if we win by 20, my guy, I will be the Aggie pack will be smoked. The Aggie pack. My guy Zach Attack in the TDC Questions channel says, bye week sat, Rebecca called in, and it's a night game. All good signs. I agree. Anyways, guys, again, phone lines are open. Appreciate y'all, your love and support. Check out the store, by the way, tsus.store. tsus.store. Surprised it's not a sellout yet. I actually am. I'm surprised it's not a sellout. I know the fair's in town. I don't know if that deters people. You wouldn't think that deters people from showing up. But, you know, I don't know. We will see, I guess. But I think it'll be a great crowd. I think it'll be a great crowd on Saturday night. Hunter Kelly, it is sold out. Where are you seeing that? Where are you seeing that? Did Gamecock football post something and I missed it or what? Because I haven't seen officially that it's a sellout. Unless I missed something, I haven't seen that. Lynn Turner says parking is a nightmare during Fair Week. Heath Hagler says, I'm saving the last cigar in my humidor for the day Sat gets fired. Yeah, I tell you this, Heath, now that I'm a big stogie guy, obviously, I need to get me a humidor. Maybe we'll hit up the Carolina Cigars folks. I need to get like a personalized custom humidor, like with the TSUS logo on it or my name on it or something. I've never really felt the need. I'm like, I always thought kind of keeping a humidor was a little aggressive, but nah, bro. I mean, keep the sticks on deck, man. Keep the sticks on deck. Why not? Why not? Why not? John Rice is not sold out. Per sources. Not sold out. Tickets remaining in East Upper and 301, 309. I still expect it to be a great crowd, though. I think Seawells will be jumping, guys. Come on out, spot 78. We'll be out there. Going to be a real good time. The Beamer Ball towels will be for sale. Normally I'd be telling you guys, hey, get your orders in by end of day. The reason I'm not saying that is because I am currently out. We are out of Beamer Ball towels. I'm picking up, stocking up on them on Friday. So we'll have them, of course, at the tailgate. But I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all been buying up the towels. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers, but we've sold damn near about 1,000 towels. So I really do appreciate it, man. It's incredible. The love, the support. It's awesome. It's awesome, truly. So it's awesome. John Rice says Seawells is going to be insane. Yeah, it should be. Hold on, let's see. Even though that's not the sound. We got to get my guy Mitch West on here, man. Mitch Weather. Like, what's the weather? What's the weather going to be like this weekend, eh? What's the weather? Let's see. Let's see here. See, if my guy Mitch was in here, you could just go ahead and tell me. I wouldn't have to go to weather.com and all that. Let's see. Saturday. Oh, beautiful. High of 74. Oh, just beautiful. High of 74. Low of 48. Little 5 mile an hour wind. Literally a perfect night for football. Perfect night. Going to be beautiful all weekend. Mid-70s all weekend. Mid-70s all weekend, man. Be nice and brisk at kick. Love that. Hoodie season is back, right? Little long sleeve season, right? Might not even need a hoodie. Just get you a long sleeve. I'll have probably the Beamer Rattler longs. I don't know what I'll wear yet. Maybe we do crack out a hoodie. We might crack out a hoodie. I don't know. I don't know yet. John Rice, Krispies before, Stogies after. Yeah, looking forward to eating some of Carrie's game day cookies. Looking forward to that, John. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. A little football-shaped cookie. Love that. Yeah, Heath Hagler, I do need a TSUS humidor. That is correct. Yes. AJ Bowers, taking my shirt off, gonna paint my upper body for the game. Really? AJ, if you do that, I need a picture. We need a picture. I'll throw it on social media. Need a picture. John, you cooking up any brisket for the weekend, my guy? That brisket was phenomenal. I'll say that. That brisket was phenomenal. H-Man, line of scrimmage game. It'll be won and lost on both lines. Probably the best chance we had to beat A&M, though. I agree with you 110%. I really do. I mean, listen, A&M, they want to run the ball. We want to run the ball. Run the ball, stop the run. That's it. It'll come down to run the ball, stop the run. I mean, it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. And I think that will certainly be the case in this game. AJ Bowers, I am dead serious, especially if you put Beamer Ball or Beamer Rattler or whatever somewhere on your body. If you do that, I will absolutely throw you on social media, my guy. Absolutely. No question. Why would I not do that? Yeah. If you paint your body, yeah, I'm going to throw you on social media. No doubt. Beamer Ball. Sheldon, brisket ain't barbecue. Bro, what? Dude, food, Twitter, food people. Bro, there's steak one time on Twitter. I'll never do that. Steak Twitter's the worst. Hunter, what's going on, man? How are you?
Nothing much, man. Yeah, so this is kind of an off topic. It's not about South Carolina, but do you think, so say if Tennessee, say if hypothetically they do beat Georgia at home and they go to the championship, and Clemson still goes, undefeated, do you think they'll ever both play each other in the championship?
Clemson and Tennessee?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's possible. If they both make it, I think it's certainly possible. I don't know. I won't guarantee it'll happen, but it's possible. Yeah, for sure. And in that case, I'd love to see the stadium sink into a sinkhole. I don't know who I'd pull for. No, I'd pull for Tennessee. But yeah, I mean, it could happen. Could happen.
Yeah, that'll be a good game for sure. I'm definitely gonna go out to buy some tickets for the game and hopefully Clemson loses.
Hopefully so. Yes, hopefully so. It's always a good day when they do.
So do you think we have the advantage to beat Clemson at home or at their home this year?
I'll say this: I picked Carolina to beat Clemson over the preseason. Right now, gun to head, I would pick Clemson to win the game. And unfortunately, I think Clemson does have it clicking on offense. I think DJ is playing much better than I expected, and no, I think Clemson has the advantage at their place, no doubt. I mean, again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Rivalry week's always a fun time, but realistically, I think you're going to see Clemson. I mean, I think if the game were this weekend, I think the spread, you'd probably see Clemson being a 17-point favorite, something like that. I mean, that just realistically, I mean, that's just where they are. So.
Yeah, no, that's understandable, especially from last year of what happened. I mean, yeah, that's very understandable, especially if we're playing at Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully for the best this weekend against Texas A&M. I mean, hopefully we'll run the ball and then we'll, throw the ball at least.
Yeah, that's why I said we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, man. A great opportunity this weekend, and I know we're having a lot of debate and discussion and banter about the offense and this, that, whatever, but bottom line is this. I don't care if you got to ride your defense. If you can get a dub this weekend, that's all that matters, man. So night game under the lights, you feel good about it. You feel good about it. You feel like you got a great opportunity at victory this weekend. So would be huge to get this dub and move to 5-2.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're having a family get together and everything, and watching the game this weekend. So we're carving pumpkins and all that kind of stuff. So for the kids and everything.
Love to hear that, my guy. Yep. Should be a good time.
And one more question. What do you think about the jerseys? What do you think is going to be all white out?
I think you're going to see Garnet, big game Garnet. That's my prediction. I think we're going to go big game Garnet. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking to one of my sister's husband. He called me. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go all black out with against I think it was like Kentucky or something like that, or the next game they're playing." And the only reason why we're not going all black out is because apparently Tennessee already called black out. So I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah, I don't know if the blackout will happen or not at any point this season. I don't know. We'll see. I know a lot of people want to see it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how much shit talk I get from that freaking Tennessee fans, dude. That's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, man. That's all I got.
Hunter, you're the man. Appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Yeah, take care. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump into one final break. On the other side, though, I want to continue to hear from you more, your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Hey, we're back. Final 7 minutes or so here on the Daily Crow, taking your questions, comments, calls. Guys, again, thank you all so much for tuning in as we sit here on this hump day on this Wednesday. Be sure to check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Tuesday presser takeaways, best bet for Carolina A&M, as well as SEC gambling picks for Week 8, and a great combo with my guy J.D. Piquel of On 3 Sports. We talk South Carolina football, this weekend's game, Shane Beamer, and everything in between. Let me say this, guys. We're spending a lot of time, obviously, to this point, talking about Marcus Satterfield. And I know we've never beaten Texas A&M before, but I feel like we should spend some time this week talking shit about A&M. Is there a bigger cult in college football than Texas A&M? Some would probably argue Clemson, but A&M, dude, A&M's weird. Are they not? A&M's weird. They're weird. Like we see the videos of the yell leaders, and it's weird. They're weird. Texas A&M's weird. They're just weird. They're just weird, dude. They're just weird. Arguably the biggest cult in college football. I don't care if we've never beaten them. I don't care if we never do beat them. That's a fact. Coleman Hall says A&M's strange, but relatively good people across the board. Okay. Lynn Turner says Tennessee is weird. If there's anybody that agrees with you, it's Dalton. That's for sure. It is Dalton for sure. Just to let you all know, by the way, Texas A&M will be conducting their midnight yell on the steps of the State House on Friday night. Would hate for about 10 to 15,000 Gamecocks to show up and make their presence felt at that ordeal. Just throwing it. You'd hate to see it, right? You'd hate to see it. You'd hate to see it. You might even run into yours truly there, but you'd hate to see it. Really. Anyways. Lady Bree says, are we not a weird cult? We keep sticking around, hoping for something that hasn't happened ever. Coleman Hall, I'm not trying to start a riot. I'm just telling you what's happening. They've been advertising it on social media. They've been advertising it. Midnight yell on the steps of the State House, my guy. Hey, what you do with that information is up to you. Age of Hours, Chris, can I put TSUS on my body? Going to go all black with white numbers and letters. AJ, again, I would love that. That'd be incredible. I'd be flattered if you did that. I would. I'd be flattered if you did that. Hunter Johnson, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's us. You know, I talked about this yesterday, Hunter. I talked about this yesterday. This game against Texas A&M is almost like a microcosm of what South Carolina football is as a whole in regards to fighting negative history. That's what we're doing in this game. And I think it's one of the reasons why you see A&M favored. I think it's one of the reasons why you talk to people, and I think most, if they have to lean one way or the other, they lean the Texas A&M side. It's because the history points to this being a very long Saturday night for South Carolina yet again. Does that matter? Does the history mean a whole lot? I guess that's up for you to decide. But it's interesting how this game sort of serves as a microcosm of Carolina football, just fighting negative history. Will we be able to overcome? We'll see. But that's sort of what it feels like. I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like. Hunter Kelly, I just want South Carolina to play like Georgia. Okay, very well said. Very well said. Coleman Hall says, like, you may not really like them, but they're probably fairly decent. Nice. Yeah, I mean, Coleman, I got nothing against A&M people. I like to talk a little crap every now and then. It's just like, it's funny because we'll spend the entire Clemson week talking shit. We'll spend Georgia week talking shit, but we haven't really talked a whole lot about A&M, at least on the Daily Crow. Most of it's about us, you know. Most of it's about us. So I will say, though, I think the key number for Saturday night is 27. You score 27 or more points, I think you got it in the bag. Because you look at A&M offensively, the beauty of this game is that both teams start slow, and I don't think A&M's a team that if you start slow, which, you have every game this season, I don't think they're a team that's going to make you pay for it. They're not going to run away from you because they're just not good enough and explosive enough offensively to do so. So, I think if you can get some things rolling, you can get Marshawn Lloyd in a groove, right? Make some plays in the passing game. 27 or more points, you score 27 or more, I think it's a guaranteed dub. I think it's a guaranteed victory if you can score 27 or more. I just don't think A&M will be able to keep up. I think your defense will be able to make some plays. And I think it'll be a very fun night if you can do that. Coleman Hall says if you get 4 touchdowns and a field goal, you should win every game. I don't totally disagree. Sometimes you need more, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Kayshawn, if we win, we're going to be in the top 25. Yeah, I would say there's a very, very high probability that is the case. Yes. Yes. Travi, appreciate you tuning in, my guy. Thank you so much for the love. Tyler Knoll, the most disappointing 4-2 start Carolina football has gotten off to in my lifetime that I remember. With all the talent we have, we've been underwhelming, in my opinion. That's coming from Tyler Knoll. And I feel like, though, Tyler, you know what? We haven't really talked about it in that way, but I wonder how many folks feel the same way that you do. I wonder how many people feel the same way. But the bottom line is this, Tyler. We're 4-2. However you want to break it down, however you want to dissect it, however you want to label it, we're 4-2. Whether we're the best or the worst 4-2 team, I had somebody tell me that, man, if Carolina wins the next 3, they'll be 7-2. They'll be the worst 7-2 team in the country. Do you really think I give a damn? The bottom line is you'd be 7-2. Nobody cares how you got there. Nobody cares. You'd be 7-2. So, hey, the goal is to be 5-2 after Saturday night. I don't care if you're the best or the worst 5-2 team in the history of college football. Just be 5-2. We'll worry about all the fluff and all the details. I'd rather be the worst 5-2 team in the country than be the best 2-5 team in the country, right? Like, who cares? Just win. Just win. That's it. Guys, we've hit 2 o'clock. Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank y'all so much for the continued love and support. Check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Stay tuned. Daily Crow every single day this week, noon to 2. And, of course, check out the podcast version of TDC in case you missed anything in any of our conversations. You can find those on YouTube as well. Guys, again, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.